All right. Hello and welcome to the end of week one of the Chainlink Hackathon. It's been an absolutely insane week, and we have so much more content. Even today, we have so much more content. Next week, we have even more content. There's a ton of resources in this hackathon to give you all the tools you need to build these insane smart contracts. Now, I do want to just jump right into this workshop that we're going to do today because we have a ton to go over, and it's going to be tough to fit everything in. For those of you who were here, I'm looking in the comments here, and I see a couple people who here were earlier today. Hello, welcome back. We're going to be doing a full stack application, a full stack Dapp here, and it's going to be a lot. We're going to learn an absolute massive amount here. So again, please be collaborative. Please jump into the comments. Please ask questions with the group here. So that we can jump in and we can do stuff. So how's everybody doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's just jump right in, show you all what we're going to be building today, and then we'll jump into how to actually build it. So the protocol that we're going to be building, we're not going to be building the back end. We're only building the front end, right? So this is, you've already done all the work in your contracts. You've already done, you deployed it to a chain maybe, and you're building the website for people to view your smart contracts and to interact with your smart contracts. Really similar to the Dapp application that we did earlier today, except this is going to be with Moralis, which I've only started using it recently, actually, as a result of this hackathon. And I absolutely love it. It makes web development in the Web3 space so much easier, and it is fantastic to work with. Absolutely fantastic to work with. And you can ask plenty of questions on Stack Overflow, and there's usually somebody who can jump in and help. So let me show you what it is we're going to be building. And this is actually, we're going to be going over the front end of a real project, right? This is a project that launched about a week ago. So we're literally doing a real project. You're going to see exactly how how the web development of a real project can go, right? So this is the Retro Cat project. Like I said, they launched about a week ago. What you can do is on their site, hit mint a Retro Cat, and you'll come to a site that looks like this. We'll go to mainnet here. We'll go ahead and connect. We'll connect with our account here. And we'll sign in. That's a Moralis thing you'll see in a second. Oops. Go ahead and be on the mainnet. And this is what we can do. So we can mint cats. We can mint a certain amount of NFTs here. We can view our NFTs. I don't have any on this account, so it's obviously nothing. And then we just have this tab that brings us to OpenSea, right? So on OpenSea, that, like I said, this is a real project. This is a real, this is the mainnet application. These are the actual cats. They're verifiably random cats, using Chainlink VRF to mint these provably random cats, which is really cool. Artists did a ton of work to make these, and this is a real project. So we're going to be building a website like this one to do this minting cats piece, right? So we can't actually do the mint cats because I don't have any, I don't have any Ethereum in this wallet here. But this is we'll show you how to actually mint cats and everything. So this is going to be an absolute blast. The code for this, let me send you in the chat here. These are the contracts for the contracts here. We're not going to be working with the contracts. Like I said, we're only looking at the front end pieces. And this is I'm posting in the chat here. This is the repository for the front end for working with Moralis here to do these. And yeah, this is really cool. And actually, the other kind of cool thing is that, like I said, this launched on OpenSea like a week ago. Looks like already 28 people minted some cats, which is really cool. And there's 133 cats, which is really cool. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. Let's jump into the code, and we're going to jump into Moralis and how Moralis literally end-to-end powers everything that you just saw in that application, and it makes your life 1,000 times easier for building these sites. So let's jump in here. So before we actually jump, actually we are going to jump in here. So again, similar to what we did with the Dapp, if you were here for that protocol, we're going to be using the React framework with Moralis here. So Moralis, you'll see kind of all the really fantastic tools that it has, but it also has this thing called React Moralis. Now, this is a plugin for React, and it allows us to use React and Moralis, really easily. And we're going to be following a lot of the docs in here. We're also going to be following this admin server, and I'll show you this in a second. We're going to be following along in a number of places. So let's go ahead. We'll jump in. And this is, like I said, so this is more the feel of what a real full stack application, a real full stack Dapp is going to look like. Because you have your contracts right in their own separate repository, and then you have your front end in a separate repository too, and that's how you scale it out, right? So the smart contract team does the smart contracts, and the front end team does the front ends here. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do npx create React app, and then we'll say cat or something. So again, actually, here, let me cancel that. Again, the requirements for this, they're in the README of the, whoops, I do, hold on, let me go in here. They should be in the README of here. Oh, I guess they're not, sorry. I will add them to the README in here. But you do need like Node.js, Node version, you do need NPM or Yarn. I'm going to do Yarn for everything, so Yarn -- version. If you want to git clone, you need git -- version. And those are the main pieces that we're going to need, right? And I will update, I will update this README to have links to installing those so that you can take it and run with it. But the way we're going to make, again, start a project, we're going to do npx create React app, retro cat UI. And this is going to give us all the boilerplate code for our RetroCat front end. So it's going to give us all the React stuff. If you came to the use Dapp example earlier today, it's going to be the same. This one, we're doing it in pure JavaScript. So earlier we did TypeScript. This one we're doing in the JavaScript. You can use either one that you prefer. I actually do prefer TypeScript. And if you want to use TypeScript, you can just do npx create React app, front end, -- template TypeScript. And this will give you a React template, but in TypeScript. The reason I'm using JavaScript here is really just to show, hey, you can use JavaScript too. JavaScript works great. But I do usually prefer doing TypeScript, but it doesn't really matter. You can use whatever you like. So boom. And now we have all this stuff here. We have node modules. We have this public folder, which we're not really going to do anything in here. So I'm not really going to talk about it. It has some important information about, getting your website set up and talking with scrapers and stuff. Don't worry about it. But this SRC file is really where we're going to live, right? And for those of you who came here earlier, this is pretty much all we did was live in this SRC file. And I am looking at the chat here. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to jump in. Feel free to ask a question. We will be looking at the questions in the chat here. Now, what we're really going to be trying to do, at least for this workshop, in the hour and a half that we have, is just get this functionality to work. You'd be able to sign in with a header, right? Sign in with your MetaMask, right, like this, and then mint a cat. That's all we're going to be looking to do here. And we'll talk about some of the other benefits Moralis has, and what makes it even better. Chainlink, I just cloned it, and I have a bunch of folders in chain info. You can just delete that chain info folders for now. But great. So here's where we are. We have our new create React application created. Let's jump into what this looks like, right? So we have app.css, which is some styling, app.js. We're going to do a lot in here. App.test, this is for testing. Index, this is for styling. Index.js, this is kind of like the main entry point that points us back to app. Logo is just a logo. We're going to ignore these, and the rest of this is some Yarn stuff, some Node.js stuff. If you're curious about what that is, feel free to ask, in the Discord. But now that we have this set up, let's just go ahead and let's jump into actually start building this application. So one of the first things that we're going to need to use again, one of the first things that we're going to need to do, right? Like if we're looking at kind of this example here, is we're going to need a way for our users to log in, right? Because if they can't log in, they can't do anything, right? They can't mint any cats. They can't mint our NFTs, right? They can't do that. So we need to learn how to actually get in. And the way that we're going to do that is our whole application, we're going to wrap in Moralis in our index.js. And again, if you haven't heard of Moralis or you don't know too much about what Moralis is, this is a really good explainer. Just think the Firebase of crypto, right? It provides backends. It has a front end. Has a front end API. It has all these scripts and just really useful tools for us to do our full stack Web3 work, right? And Ivan has a great video here. You know, Ivan is fantastic at explaining all the benefits that Moralis has. I definitely recommend you watch this video. I'll drop this doc into the chats here. And it's got a whole bunch of other useful stuff. So it has some servers for us to run. Now you might think, okay, why do I need a server for a Web3 application? Well, maybe you need some type of login functionality, right? OpenSea is a great example. OpenSea has allows people to log in and do stuff that they actually store in their database. Maybe you don't always need to do everything on chain. You know, like if I wanted to, if I could look up RetroCat, actually, if I looked up RetroCats and I wanted to just like favorite a cat, like I'm not going to spend any gas to do that, right? So signing this transaction just gets stored in the OpenSea database, and that's a lot better, right? And that's a lot gas cheaper than doing that on chain. So this is an example of an application where a front end, a back end is needed to have to kind of store a lot of this stuff that you might not want to do on chain. Having a database, doing some cloud code. The Moralis SDK is really what we're going to be focusing on, but it also has all these fantastic plugins like this Buy Crypto plugin. If you click it, it just bumps into an application to buy crypto, which is a blast, and a whole bunch of other reasons. But you'll see more and more as we use it. You know, all the value add. In order for us to get started, we need to wrap our whole application in a Moralis provider, and this is going to be really similar to the used Dapp provider that we used earlier if we were there. If we go to the React Moralis Quick Start, it'll teach us how to actually get started. So we need to add React DOM Moralis, React Moralis. I probably have these two, but it doesn't hurt to add them again. And we'll just do yarn add, and we'll paste those in there. So this is going to give us that Moralis SDK, this React Moralis to start working with all the wonderful tools of Moralis. Glad you got it, Tippy. Nice, excellent. Okay, cool. Now that we have that in here, we can wrap our whole app in a Moralis provider. So we can even get rid of this React.strict mode. And what we'll do is we'll say Moralis provider. And we'll say app ID equals there's a outside. Sorry. So we're going to wrap this in a Moralis provider, and we're going to give it an app ID and a server URL. And we're going to, oops. Okay. And then obviously we need to import this. So we're going to do import Moralis provider from React Moralis. Mad at me for something. Not empty. Okay. So we're going to give this an app ID and a server URL. But what are these? So the app ID is going to be our app ID of in the Moralis user interface, and the server URL is going to be a server that we are given to run basically what's called a backend for the front end, right? So it's going to be a backend for our front end. So if we go to the Moralis site, we can go ahead, sign up for free. It takes like two seconds. Once we verify, this is what we get into, right? Thank you, Goldster. Actually, yeah, for those who missed it, appreciate that. npm install or yarn add. Thank you, appreciate that. But this is what you'll see, right? And to create our first server, we're going to, like I said, this backend for the front end, we hit this create a new server button. And we're going to be working with the Rinkeby testnet. So we're going to do a testnet server. We're going to call this hackathon instance. We'll do New York because I'm in Boston. We'll do testnet and we're going to do Rinkeby. The reason we're doing Rinkeby is because OpenSea has a Rinkeby testnet for us to actually see these cats and see these applications on a testnet. So we're creating a server. And while we create this server, we are going to be deploying some contracts to Rinkeby. So we will need some Rinkeby ETH. If you don't have Rinkeby ETH, you can go to faucets.chain.link. Scroll down to Rinkeby. This is brand new as of like 2 days ago. There's a Rinkeby ETH faucet here. So you can get Rinkeby. You can get Link as well. You just grab your address, pop it in here. I am not a robot. Verify, send request, and boom, you'll get your Rinkeby. And are there cost implications? These are great questions. Are there cost implications for just using Moralis UI? So if you're using just the Moralis SDK, it is 100% free, right? And you'll see there's a ton of tools that we can use with the Moralis SDK. If you're using the Moralis servers, this is also free, right? And in fact, if you reach out and say, hey, like, you know, what do I need to pay? Once your server like reaches too much load, that's when you'd want to reach out to the Moralis team. Once you go production, that's when you want to reach out. That's when you want to say, hey, like, I'm getting really heavy load. There's a ton of traffic right now. But for example, this, like I said, this is an application that's live right now. I think they've done, you know, maybe $10,000 in NFT sales already. And it's on the free tier, right? So you can get a ton of value out of this just in the free tier. And then when you're ready to get more, you can bump up. So yeah, incredible. Yeah, they did a great job here. But in any case, we have our link was given to us and our ETH, which is great that we have. So now that we have this hackathon instance, right? We need the app ID and the server URL. So we can find that in here. We can hit view details and we'll get a server URL and an application ID. And these are the two pieces that we need. So we're going to copy this. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a .env file. And this is where we're going to put our environment variables for the app ID and server URL, right? We don't want to hard code it in here. We want to make them environment variables. So we're going to say React app, what is this? Server ID, Moralis server URL equals this. We're going to say React app Moralis app ID equals our application ID. And I'm going to delete this after this workshop. So these will no longer work after this workshop. But great. So now that we have that, we should be good to go here. Let me just double check. Yeah, after we grab that, we should be good to go here. And in fact, if we do a yarn start, we can see like what this looks like. Oops, just kidding. RetroCats UI. I don't think I added these packages to the correct folder. I think this is what tripped me up in the used app. I started adding packages in the wrong folder. Whoopsies. I'm going to delete this node modules too. Only need one node modules. We don't need a whole bunch. But yeah, so we just add them in here. We're going to, once this finishes downloading, we're going to do yarn start. And this should just be our real basic React application, right? It's not going to have anything fancy. I should probably add that, right? So we're going to do process.env.react app Moralis app ID, and then process.env.react app Moralis server URL. compile. It's going to be like, great job, you did it. Or it's going to take forever to compile. We should start with a testnet. Yes. And in fact, you should start with a local network before that, like a hardhat or a ganache. Testnet should really be the last piece. The reason we're starting with the testnet is because I kind of already have all the contracts and have done all the work already. But yes, you should start with a local network. But a testnet should be part of the journey. Great question. Okay, great. So now we have a running. React is running. Awesome. Cool. My instance is still connecting. It might take a while to connect. Yes. But cool. All right. So now that we have that, now we're ready to jump into our app.js, where we're going to add a lot of the functionality here. We're already 20 minutes deep. I just take forever to explain things, don't I? So we're in here. Now, I'm just going to get rid of everything. Get rid of everything in here. And now we'll see just a whole lot of nothing, which is perfect. We're going to make a new component called main. So we're going to create a new folder, components, new file, main.js. And in this main thing is where we're going to stick a lot of our stuff, right? So I'm just going to start off in here. We're going to say export const main, and I'm going to go a little bit quick. If you're unfamiliar with React or like all these weird syntax, like all this weird stuff, don't worry about it for now. Just follow along. You'll be great. We're going to return a JSX component, div hi from main. In our app, we're going to do import import main from that component we just made, /components/main. And then in here, we're just going to do this, main, boom, and now we should see hi from main, and we do see hi from main. Perfect. Okay, great. So we're just going to leave app like this for now. Let's jump into main, and we'll have main be our person, our thing. So here we go. We're in main, and one of the first things that we're going to need to do is actually we're going to need to make a header before we do main. I apologize. So we're going to do header first. We're going to make a header. I'm actually just going to copy main because main is going to be nearly the same as the header. Header.js. We're just going to change this name to header. I know I'm going kind of quick. Hopefully I'm not going too quick. Header. Hi from main, hi from main. Header, hi from header, hi from main. Okay, so one of the first things that we're going to need to do, like I was saying, is make that button. Like I want to click connect. I want to be able to mint these cats, right? So I need to be able to get in here and do exactly that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to connect our header to our website here. And Moralis can do a lot of that for us. So what we're going to do here is we're going to import some stuff. So first we're going to do import, use Moralis from React Moralis. And what use Moralis does is it allows us to call a whole bunch of hooks, right? So it allows us to authenticate. Is authenticated, right? Are we connected? Who's a user? Use Moralis will also give us tools like Web3 tools, like is Web3 enabled? Log out, use Web3, etc. So for our header, obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to say const. We're going to do a couple of things. Enable Web3, which is a function, and you can find this. Web3. Oh, I even have like a little sections on how to actually enable Web3, right? Enable Web3 with MetaMask, right? That we can use enable Web3 with Wallet Connect. We're going to grab enable Web3, authenticate equals use Moralis. And we're actually going to use a whole bunch of stuff in here, but we'll start with enable Web3 for now. Because like I said, the first thing we want to do is actually, enable our Web3. So in our return statement here, we're going to create a little button that says, enable. So in here, we're going to create a button. Hi, and we'll see what this looks like on the front end. Hi, that's our button. Hi, and I'm not going to use Material UI just because this is going to be a little quicker, but I might later. We're going to create a button, and we're going to say on click. We want clicking this to obviously, log them in with their MetaMask and connect them with their MetaMask. So we're going to say on click is going to be a function where we're going to enable them, or we're going to log them out, right? So we're thinking like if they're already logged in, we're gonna log them out. Otherwise, we're going to log them in. So we need to check that, right? So we're going to say if they're not, is Web3 enabled? These are all like wonderful little plugins that come with Use Moralis. Is Web3 enabled is one of them. So we're going to say if we're not Web3 enabled, then we're going to enable Web3. Now, Moralis has this other thing, this other function, and don't worry, we'll fix that in a second. This other thing called Authenticate. Okay. So when you work with Moralis here, you can just use your MetaMask, but you can also use a login feature, right? Similar to OpenSea, really similar to OpenSea, right? When I log in, when I go to my profile here, I'm logged into OpenSea, but with more than just my MetaMask, right? Because again, I can favorite stuff, and this is stored in the MetaMask database as opposed to being stored on chain. So we want to log in both, with our MetaMask and through OpenSea here. And we're going to do the same thing with our application. We're going to log in. We're going to authenticate with the Moralis server and with our MetaMask. Okay. So I'm going to actually create a function called enable and authenticate, which is going to do both of those for us. So we're just going to go up here, and we're going to create that function. We're going to say const enable and authenticate. This is going to be an async function. And all we're going to do is we're going to do await enable Web3 and await authenticate. And this is an incredibly powerful thing, this authenticate, because then we can do something similar to like what OpenSea, how like that I have this favorited, right? I can even unfavorite it, right? And again, it gets unfavorited because it gets stored in the OpenSea's database, right? And in this case, it will be the Moralis database, which is incredibly powerful here. We sign it with our MetaMask still, but it gets stored in the database. So we don't have to spend any gas. So your users don't have to spend any gas. So great. So we're going to use enable Web3 and authenticate. We're going to say if Web3 isn't enabled, we're going to enable and authenticate. And we're going to say, or it's not is authenticated. So this is also a little thing that comes with this, is authenticated. It's a Boolean, right? If we are authenticated, it returns true. If we are enabled, it returns true. So basically we're saying, hey, if we're not enabled or authenticated, just do both. Otherwise, there's another function called logout. Logout. And we can grab logout again from Use Moralis, right? So remember when we saw on this, we can connect. We're signing into the Moralis server like this, signing in, and then we can log out, right? So we're going to do that in our application, just like this. If we go over to create React app, if I hit hi now, whoops, looks like nothing actually happens. Oh, no, it was just, I was impatient. Let me just cancel real quick. If I hit hi, let me disconnect first. I'm going to disconnect here. Now I'm disconnected. If I hit hi now, MetaMask pops up, says, hey, would you like to connect? Yes, I would. I'm going to connect. And then what happens right afterwards is we sign in with Moralis authentication. So this is the authenticate function happening. We're going to go ahead and sign in. That was authenticate, and enable Web3 was connecting our MetaMask, right? The other value add of authenticate is you can have multiple wallets. You can have a ton of different wallets all under the same user, right? And that's incredibly powerful as well. So this authenticate piece does a ton of things. So that's the first piece. And boom, now we're connected and authenticated, and we can start doing a lot of wonderful pieces here. So let's just add a little bit more stuff at the bottom here. Instead of hi, we're going to add a little JavaScript to make it a little bit clear what's going on. We're going to say if it's authenticating, we're going to add like a loading thing. And if we are authenticated, we're going to have it say log out. So Moralis also has some wonderful pieces for this too. It allows us to add import is authenticating and is Web3 enable loading. And down here, what we can do is we can say is authenticating or is Web3 enable loading. If it's doing either one of those, we're going to have the button say loading. Right? Remember, this is that I said ternary operator, where we're saying if one of these is true, we're going to do this. Otherwise, if it's just authenticated, web enabled. If not, one of them is not, we're going to ask to log in. We're going to say connect, and oops, let's do single quotes. Connect and log in. Otherwise, log out. Is authenticated? I spelled is authenticated wrong. And boom. So now we'll do a quick refresh actually. We connected. Oops, that might be backwards. It should say. Oh, looks like we weren't. Okay, sign in. Oh, maybe I did something wrong there. Whoops. Oh, just kidding. If it's authenticating and it's loading, then we're going to say loading. If it's not authenticated, it's not enabled, connect and log in. Otherwise, log out. Okay. Sorry, I need to add something else. The other thing we need to do is we need to change some states here. We're going to use something called use effect. This is another React piece here. Forgot about that. Sorry. We're going to import use effect from React. I'm mixing double quotes and single quotes. I'm sorry. I know. I'm a monster. We're going to say use effect is. I'll explain this in a second. If we are authenticated, then let's just go ahead and enable Web3. Comma is authenticated. So what this use effect thing is going to do is it's going to constantly be listening to see if we're authenticated. If we're authenticated, it's going to automatically enable Web3, right? So that way we're never at a sync, and that's kind of what was happening right there. So we just need to add this piece here. Go ahead and log out, disconnect. Now it's connect and log in. So we're going to enable Web3 here. Connect. It says loading. That's what we want. It's going to pop up again. We're still loading. We're going to sign in. And now it says connect and log in, which it should say log out instead of connect and log in. Did I forget something? If I hit this, does it log me out? You installed Moralis in the wrong folder too. Okay, we both did it. Whoops. All right, so I'm messing up some of my logic somewhere. If we're not enabled and we're not authenticated, or we're not authenticated, then else log out, and then we're just say if we are authenticated or authenticated, enabled. All right, so I'm messing up some logic somewhere. And let's add one more thing here though. Let's add inside this button thing. We'll also add disabled. If we're authenticating, we'll go ahead and disable the button. That won't fix the problem I'm running into. Else part is executing. If and logging me out. Is it? Uh-huh. Triage live. Yay. All right, so some of my logic is probably, some of my mathematical operators are messed up somewhere. But in any case, I'm connected. In any case, I'm connected. So we're just going to move forward, and I can figure out why I'm not authenticating correctly. So what if I just do this, right? It should tell me it'll be good. Let's see, are my server details right? Hope so. We can even jump in and check. User. Oh, okay, I know what it is. Okay, yeah, it's so I like just spun the server up like right beforehand, so it's still queuing up. That's probably what's going on. Apologies. So that's probably what's going on. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it though. So we're enabling. We might not be connecting to the server because it's like we just spun it up right before this, so it's probably still warming up. So we'll come back to it in a little bit, and I'm willing to bet that it'll be all set once we come back to it. But in any case, we're at least connected, so we can do all the important stuff anyways. So great, we're connected. We're also signing in, but our server is just getting started. But in any case, let's move on. So we have a header here, right? And we have it in here. Great, we can connect how we want. Let's go ahead and we'll start doing our main application now. And this is where we're going to add this piece on how we can actually, mint one of these cats here in our main application. So in main here, what we're going to do is we're going to, let's just look in this return a little bit. In our kind of finalized example here, what we have is, oops. In our finalized example here, we have these tabs here. We might skip over the tabs and just go right into like this mint cats thing. So we can do that. And by might, I mean, yeah, we definitely gonna do that. So I know in the example repo, it has a whole bunch of tabs and stuff, but we're just gonna do the mint cats piece. And then if you want to go back and add the tabs later on, you absolutely can and absolutely should. So right in here, and the way that we did it in the components is we had a mint cats component. I know this is kind of like unnecessarily deep, right? We have app, we have mint cats in main in app, which is unnecessarily deep, but we're going to do it for now to keep this nice and simple. So we're going to do mint cats in here for mint cats, and we're going to add it to our main. So we're going to do import mint cats. Oops. From cats. We're just going to do this from cats. From min cats. Okay, perfect. So we're just going to do pretty much everything just in this min cats piece here. Great. So in mint cats, what we're going to do is we're going to need a button and an input, right? So we're going to delete this, and we're just going to have like a main div in here, and we're going to need some type of input again to mint these cats. So we can do input, and again, I am going to use Material UI for the inputs here, just because I really like how they look. Material UI. This is a React framework that gives us really nice stuff, basically. So like it gives us really nice looking components, and we're going to add this in here. We're going to do yarn add at MUI/material. We're going to use one of these inputs from Material UI. So we're going to say, as it's importing, we're going to do import input from at MUI/material. And we're going to create this input here. We're going to say input this. We'll give it a couple of parameters in the input. We'll say, full width equals true. Pretty much it. Back to our app. Sorry, I got to add all the rest of this stuff for Material UI to work. It's going to be a few other things. Probably should skip Material UI. What else? What else do you want me to add here? Oh my goodness. Add it to the wrong one. Yeah, Material UI gets upset when you don't have all its emotions, yeah. And its style. Yarn add emotion/styled. And this will just give us a nice little input. That way we can mint the number of cats we want to input here. And it's still mad at me. I think this is the last one we have to add. Still mad at me. Let's close and reopen. The background gradient is MUI. No, I think that one's just like some CSS stuff. Can't resolve Material UI. Well, that's probably because I didn't add it. That makes a lot of sense. Yarn add because I added it to the wrong folder. Whoops a daisy. Mistakes were made. Okay. Here we go. All right, so now we have this big long thing and we can add some stuff in it. I probably shouldn't have done full width. That was probably a dumb idea. All right, that's better. Cool. Now this is going to be the number of cats we're going to mint. So maybe we want to mint 1, we want to mint 15, however many we want to mint. And then right below that, we're going to need a button. Sorry. I'm going to use the button from Material UI as well. So I'm going to do comma, button, and boom. These are going to be the two things that we need to do. And if we look, if we look in here, with this button, hi, right, we can connect, and cool. This is going to be how we're going to mint cats. Can you build front end without React? Yes. You can build it, with pure JavaScript. There are other frameworks like Angular, Svelte. There's a ton of different ways to do front ends. Yes. We're using React because it's probably the most popular way right now. In any case, so we have a button here, and when we press this button, we want to mint the number of cats that we tell it in input. So the amount of cats we're going to store in a state hook, right? And the state hook is this this thing that's going to help us keep state between renders. So to use state hooks, and if people are used to like class-based props, this is kind of the new age way to do this, I guess. But we'll do const amount of cats and set amount of cats equals use state 0. And amount of cats is going to be that variable for however many cats are. Oh, I should import use states. Import use state from React. If whatever number is in here, we want to be in this amount of cats variable. So whenever we type something in here, we should set that amount of cats. So what we're going to do is for our input, we're going to say on change. Whenever we change this input, we're going to do handle input change. And handle input change is just going to change this amount of cats here. So we're going to create this function called const handle input change. It's going to take an event as input parameter, right? Because this on change is going to pass the event to our handle input change function. And all we're going to do is we're going to say const new amount is going to be equal to that event.target value target. And then if it's blank, make it blank. Otherwise, just event.target.value. So event.target.value, this is just saying, hey, this new amount is going to be whatever we stick in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say set amount of cats to this new amount. And then we can use it in console.log our amount of cats variable, right? Which should be updated every time we type in here. So we go back to our front end, we hit inspect, we go to console, and I type 1, 2, 3. Everything I type in here, it's going to get printed out, right? Because that's what we told it to do. We said anytime we do something in the input, we're going to change it. Great. So what do we do now? Okay, well, we're going to have to do something for submitting. So we have a way to get the value out of this, right? The value from that input is going to be stored in this amount of cats thing. So now we're going to need the button to call the mint function when we press it, right? That's what we're going to need to do now. So on our button, we're going to say on click, or we're going to change this to mint cats. On our button here, we're going to say on click equals handle mint submit, or whatever we want to call it, which we don't have defined yet, which we should define. So up here again, we're going to say const handle mint submit equals a function, and the function is going to do some stuff. And we're going to create a hook, a React hook that's going to deal with all the stuff we need for minting the cats. So we have a handle mint submit, and all this is going to do is going to return mint cats, and we're going to pass in that amount of cats. So sorry, this is going to be lowercase. And this mint cats is going to be a function that we're going to define. We are going to define in a hook. We're going to get it like so. We're going to get it something over here. So we're going to go ahead and create a new hook to mint our cats. So we're going to get a new folder. We're going to do hooks. And in here, we're going to create a new hook. We're going to do use mint cats.js. And we're also going to do an index.js as well. Index.js. Our index.js is going to just be export use mint cats from /use mint cats, which we haven't defined yet, but we will. Don't worry. So our use mint cats is just going to be our hook to mint the cats, right? And we're going to use some more Moralis tools to actually mint these cats from the front end and work with the states and update, make notifications and stuff. Yeah. So the total absence of class-based components. At first, I was really adverse to using these hooks. Like I was like, these are really weird. I don't understand them. Now that I've used them a lot more, they're nice. I like using the hooks a lot better. The more you use them, the more the better you get. Time behind the wheel, my friend. So we're going to create this hook called use mint cats, and we're going to do export const use mint cats is going to be equal to a function where we do some stuff. Yeah, let's do some stuff. And so this is going to be our function. And actually, let's pass in the retro cats address. And this is going to be our script that's going to mint the cats for us. Okay. So we're even going to create a function, const mint cats equals async function with an amount parameter. And this is going to be our function that actually mints the cats for us. So the way these cats work, and I'll fix this in a minute. Mint cats is not defined, actually. The way these cats actually work is they have a cost. There's a let's pull up the contracts actually. If we pull up the contracts here, weird. If we pull up the contracts, whenever this is the mint cats function that we're going to be calling, and I know it looks kind of big, right? And there's all this stuff here, but really all it's doing is it's minting one of these NFTs. It's minting a certain amount of these NFTs. Okay, right at the beginning, and this is something people ask me all the time: how do I make an NFT that people have to pay for at mint? This is the line that does it right there. So you say require message.value. So you're saying you require people to send you some ETH with this function call, and it must be greater than some fee, right? We're doing some fee time amount because we're allowing people to mint many cats. And scat fee is just a storage variable that we store at the top, like UN256 public cat fee. So in order for them to have this, to mint one of these cats, the first thing we need to know what the cat fee is. How much ETH do they need to spend to mint this cat, to call this mint cats function on the blockchain? So that's the first thing that we need to do. Let me move this out of the way. Let's go back to this. Is get that cat fee. So we're going to get this cat price by doing let cat price equals await, and this is where Moralis again comes into play. Actually, hold on. Let's add all the Moralis stuff first, so that we're not just calling functions that don't exist. So first, let's add all this Moralis stuff, and then we'll use the Moralis tools to actually get this cat fee. So we're gonna do import, use Moralis from React Moralis, and now in our use mint cats, we're gonna say const Moralis equals use Moralis. And we're going to uncomment this now. We're going to say let cat price equals await Moralis dot execute function And this is how we're going to call the function, right? So our scat fee is actually a function itself. It's a public view function that we can call. So that's the function that we're going to be calling, and we can say Moralis.execute function. Function name is going to be s_cat fee, right? That's pretty much literally exactly how we call it. Now, in order to call this, of course, whenever we call a contract in Solidity in a smart contract, we always need to have what? We need to have the ABI and its address. So we could also do comma ABI, comma address. But what a lot of people do, or excuse me, we could do comma ABI equals whatever the ABI is, comma address, whatever the address is. But what a lot of people do, and I'm going to do it this way too, is they'll make like a const options equals, and they'll just do ABI, and then contract address is going to be retro cats address. So we need to pass an ABI and then map the retro cats address to the contract address. Where do we get the ABI from? Well, we're going to say const ABI equals retro cats, and we're going to import retro cats from our chain info. So we're going to import retro cats from .. chain info, which we don't have yet. So again, since we did all the contracts coding already, I've made a couple scripts that automatically print or stick our contract information in our front end, so our front end can run with it. Typically, what you could do though is you could just make a new file called ABI. You grab the ABI, stick it in here, grab the addresses in here. I'm just going to go ahead and use this script that I already wrote. So in our scripts here, in our deploy, again, we have this kind of like if it's rinkb, we can update the front end. So I'm just going to run this, and it's going to automatically push our stuff to, it's automatically going to update our front end. We're just going to change the name of our front end file. So it's going to be .. ..demos/ what's the name of it? RetroCats. This is the name of our front end now. RetroCats front end / RetroCats UI / SRC. And this now, if I run my script to deploy my contracts, this is going to automatically upload them. You could manually do this. You could manually add your APIs. I just like having everything being programmatic. So I'm going to do Brownie, run scripts, deploy RetroCats -- network, rinkb. And this is going to deploy all of our contracts. It's going to do everything we need to do. Oh, whoops. Hold on. I have set to use our RetroCat ID. Let's not do that. Let's just do my regular get account thing. Okay, cool. I'll try it. Oh, what's up, Ivan? Oh my goodness, Ivan in the house. Yes. If you need any help with Moralis, join Moralis Discord or Moralis Forum. Absolutely, 100%. Ivan is in the building. If you need any help, definitely join the Moralis Forum. As somebody who's used Moralis a lot at this point, their forum is awesome. Really, really, really helpful. And I'm a big fan of Stack Overflow too. What I've done is I preach this all the time. Make a question on Stack Overflow and then drop it into their Discord. Their forum is also fantastic. Glad to see you on the stream, Ivan. I know it's very late where he is currently, so I'm glad you could jump on for just a second. We're showing off all the cool things of Moralis and why frontend is so fantastic here. But cool. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be deploying this, deploying all these contracts again, deploying these RetroCats contracts, and then our front end will automatically get updated. So while that happens, it's going to push it to a file called chain info. So I'm just going to pretend it already finished, /deployments /map.json. And this retrocats object is a JSON object with an ABI in it, so we can get the ABI. Okay. So that's how we can use Moralis to get the price of our cat, right? This is a lot easier than some other syntax that I've seen, which is great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to actually call this mint cats function, right? Because now that we have the price, if we look in our contracts here, mint cats, right? All we need is the amount of cats that we want and the price to send, and we can go ahead and start minting cats, right? And using Chainlink VRF to mint our random number of cats. So what we're going to do is we're going to do let tx or transaction equals await, and we can use this Moralis.execute function syntax again. We'll say Moralis.execute function. And then we're just going to do the exact same thing, right? We're going to pass the parameters in here. So we're going to say function name. It's going to be what? It's going to be mint cats. Okay. Parameters, these are all like our Solidity low-level parameters, are just going to be amount. So these are the parameters we're passing to the Solidity, which is going to be the number of cats, the amount of cats. And then we need to pass a message value, which is going to be that cat price times the amount, okay? Because if we have 10 cats, the price is going to be, 10 cats times whatever the price is. So cat price times amount. And then what we can do is in this use mint cats function here, we can return this mint cats function to our mint cats component, and kind of similar, so that we can have a function to send our cats, send the transaction, and a function for our state. So we're just going to return mint cats, and we also want something that can keep track of the state. So because we want to know what state the transaction's in, right? Has it gone through? Is it still pending? Where is the transaction, right? We want to keep track of the transaction state. So we're going to do, once again, we're going to use a use state. We're going to use a hook. So we're going to say const mint cats state, comma, set mint cats state equals use mint, use state, sorry, use state. And we're just going to start it off. This status is going to be null. Need to import this for use state from React. And in our mint cats function, right when we call it, we're gonna right before we call it, we're gonna set the mint cat state. We're gonna do set mint. Oops. We're gonna set the mint cat state to status mining, and then after it passes, we're going to set the mint cat state to status, and then for our status, we'll just do tx.status, right? So if it passes, that'll be the status. If it fails, that'll be the status. Perfect. And great. And now we can return both mint cat's function and the mint cat's state. And that's going to be our use mint cats hook. So now that we have this hook, way back in our mint cats component, what we're going to have is we can use those hooks, right? So that when we hit that submit button, we're able to actually mint the cats. So we're going to say const mint cats, comma, mint cats state equals use mint cats. Perfect. Now, something we don't have in here is the retrocats address, which, right, if we look back at our use mint cats, that's something that we needed to pass. So we're going to need to give this the retrocats address. And I might even just hard code it for the demo here. Usements cats is not defined. Well, that's probably because I should import it. So we're going to do import usement cats from hooks. And I might just hard code this for this demo here. Ideally, you don't want to hard code it. You want to kind of parameterize everything, but just kind of in the interest of time, I'm probably going to hard code it. All right, is our script done? Okay, our script looks like it's done. It says, hey, everything's been deployed to Rinkby. We can even double check. We can see RetroCats deployed here. Let's go to Rinkby Ether. Oops. Rinkby Ether scan. How good my spelling is. Paste that in here. Cool, great. Looks like it's verified. It's deployed. It's got all its stuff. It's nice and chain linked. Amazing. Does it have any link token? Doesn't have any link token. Okay, so I got to send this some link token on Rinkby. We're going to send it some link. We'll send it maybe 4 link. We need to send it 4 link because in order to mint a cat, we're calling the mint cats functions with the link token with the Chainlink VRF. All right, jumping into questions. I know I'm kind of talking a lot. Yeah, great that Ivan showed up. Can build a crypto marketplace with Moralis? Yes, you absolutely can, and that is an awesome thing to do for this hackathon. Moralis is actually like the perfect tool for building an NFT marketplace for, because of its like authenticate, because you have the database to work with. Less than 30 minutes left. You got it. Yeah, we'll see. We can also install VS Code Moralis snippets extension that we can get the instant list of methods of Moralis objects. I didn't know that. I got to get that. What does it need to be unnecessarily deep into coding fundamentals, or as you reference with components /mitcat/js? Great question. It was more coding fundamentals. Like if I had like 50 components that were just nested inside of each other, but each component like wasn't really doing anything, that's really what I was referring to. Because we have app. Excuse me, we have mint cats, which is inside of main. Main doesn't do anything, and main's inside of app, and app doesn't do anything. It's just kind of unnecessarily deep. Oh yeah, no sleep till Brooklyn. Anyways, so we've sent it some link. Great. We're getting close to actually being able to test minting this. So our friend has been updated. Let's go ahead and we're just going to hard code this RetroCats address. It's not best practice, but in the sake of time, we're going to do it. And I should go to this. Use mint cats. Great. So we're going to pass the RetroCats address in just like this. So again, this is don't do this. This is bad, but that's how we're going to do it. Great. We could use mint state later, but let's just. I think we're at a point where we can test the front end to make sure everything works here. So let's just cancel that. We'll restart our development server. And that's all right. You know, vibing is good. Some of these are it's tough to kind of sprint everything in here. I can't find hooks. That's probably because this is the wrong place. Export use mint cats from mint cats. Can't resolve hooks front end SSC/components. That's because that is not what that should be. It should be background directory, I think. Yes, that makes more sense. There we go. Great. Now what'll happen, I'll punch in a value. We're on Web3 is enabled. We'll hit mint cats. And I broke something. Make sure to call Moralis.enable Web3 or Moralis.authenticate. So it looks like that bug that I said wasn't going to bother us is bothering us a little bit. Connect and log in. It's loading. We're going to sign. We're going to authenticate here. Let's see. Let's check. Oh, It might be mad at us. It might be mad at us because we're on localhost and we should be on like the server URL. Okay, so it's a little mad at us for that. Uh-oh. Sorry, 1 second. If I cheat and just copy paste my header in, that's not very helpful for anybody, but I gotta add this. Cheating, I know, I'm cheating. So I'm seeing if there's something wrong with my header here. Oh yeah, okay, well, header looks a lot nicer. Sign. Okay. Oh, that's what I need to do. That's right. So I need to run. Okay. Yep. My environment variables aren't enabled. That's why I need to do source.env. Or I needed to do sorry, that's why. So I have my my .env stuff in here, but I didn't do a load.env anywhere. So I need to actually, if you're on Mac or Linux, you need to do export React, app, whatever. And hold on, let me go back to the not cheated one. You need to add these to your environment. Add these to your environment. So export, React app Moralis ID equals blah blah, or you can just do source.env. There's also load.env or .env Node.js. You can do something like this. You can just do yarn add.env and require.env.config, and that'll load whatever's in your .env. But I'm just going to cheat. I just did it with source.env. Now let's go ahead and see the front end. Okay, here we go. Connect and log in. So it wasn't that it wasn't the server was just starting up. It was that I didn't have my environment nodes, or I don't know anything that I'm talking about. That might be more likely. I just don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Go back to the cheaty front end. Unable to connect and parse API. All right, so I'm doing something weird here. It could be that the server's new. It could be error name not resolved. It's mad at me for something. Yeah, .env. This .env file. So let's go here. Unauthorized. Okay, right. What if we were to just deploy this, see what happens, right? Yarn start or yarn build. And that was the other thing that I wanted to show. And then hopefully I will have time to do it, is that you can actually deploy your front ends right on Moralis. And that's probably one of the most powerful things here. Maybe you have to add the app ID and URL directly into the code. Yeah, you know what? I probably should just do that. I might be doing something weird. Sorry. So you shouldn't do this with environment variables, but we're going to be quick here. see if that made it happy. Okay, that made it happy. Yep, you're right. So for some reason, I was doing something weird with my environment variables because they weren't going through. Good call, chat. Thank you. So it wasn't anything to do with server. It was just me not putting my environment variables correctly. Yeah, you should do .env for your environment variables here. So cool. Well, glad we found that out. Nice work, chat. Teamwork makes the dream work. Now that we're logged in, and this is the nicer UI. Hold on. Let's go back over to the not cheating. Okay, one more undo. Fresh. All right, cool. Now it says log out. Okay, now if we hit log out, it actually logs us out. Or should actually log us out. And we hit connect and log in, and we can actually connect and log in. Well played. Yeah, good. Well played. Thank you. Thank you for stopping me from struggling. Okay, so we're logged in. We're authenticated. Everything. Now, if we hit this, we should actually we should be able to mint one cat, right? So if I hit mint cats now, oh no, now it's mad on something else. Can I read properties of undefined reading find? One step at a time. One step at a time. Don't you just love JavaScript? What a great language. Use mint cats. Almost works. Almost works. The header works. Unhandled rejection type error. Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading find. So it's saying let cat price. It's not happy with the cat price here. Cat price. Mouse that execute function as cat fee. If I just set it manually, at 2, 2, 5, 6, 7, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if I just set that manually? 2 cats maybe. Every property of undefined fine. Oh, did I not? Ooh, Moralis. Function name. Mint cats. That's probably right. Function name. What if I cheat and copy paste? Because I probably typed something. If I just got, what if I cheat and copy paste? Spelling something wrong. Oh, okay, yeah, I spelled something wrong. Hold on. Got it to work. I spelled something wrong here. What did I spell wrong? Do you see what I spelled wrong? I spelled something wrong. Cat price? What did I spell wrong? I spelled something wrong. All right, well, I spelled something wrong in here, but I'm going to cheat once more just because we're towards the end. I'm just going to paste what I have in my example. For some reason, I'm spelling something. Message value, did I spell wrong? Do you have function scat fee? Yeah, scat fee. I don't know. Well, so I just pasted my example, which looks to be the same, right? It looks to be the same here. I don't know. Whatever. I spelled something wrong. But in any case, now we can go ahead. We hit the mint cats button. MetaMask pops up. It gives us that fee, right? That we need, that we want. We can go ahead and confirm minting. Now on the UI, when you mint, it'll give you like a wheel and everything. We're not gonna have time to go over that. I do want to just show one more thing that we can do, which is the Moralis deploy. So this went through, which is great. We could actually go on OpenSea, check this out if we wanted to. So we could go grab the transaction hash, Etherscan. Maybe we could pop that in there. Oops. Spelling is destroying me. Or maybe we'll just grab the RetroCats address from Mintcats right here. Grab that, pop that into Etherscan, or excuse me, pop it into OpenSea. Go to OpenSea. We'll go to testnets.opensea.io. Pop the address in here. We can see a RetroCats item in here. We can see there's one item. We can see it's loading, and we can see the cat that we just minted in OpenSea, which is really, really cool. Now, I do want to show you one or two other things before we jump off. But essentially, that's right. But essentially, even though this is super minimalistic, we now have a way we can mint cats. We have a really, really minimalistic UI. We can log out, we can log back in. You just have to set your environment variables, which I didn't do. Whoopsie daisy. I thought it was that Moralis was like warming up, but no, it's just you've got to set your environment variables, man. But yeah, let me just show you one more thing on the that's kind of cool about the full example that we made and the full code, right? So we do have a if you fork, if you clone the RetroCats repo yourselves, you can run it locally. You can run it on Rinkeby, right? You can go ahead and do all the same stuff we did before. We can connect, right? But now that we're on Rinkeby, we can actually, see, perfect. Well, now that we see this, we know what this error is. Isn't that nice? I need to run the environment variables. Isn't that nice? But if you fork it and you run the RetroCats, the full RetroCats example right from source, what we can do, we'll connect, we'll sign in, change over to mainnet. Oh wait, it's only supported mainnet right now. Drat. All right. Well, if I'd have to go back and change the code to make it Rinkbyable, but yeah. So right now it's only mainnet, but it has some nice other pieces. Like I said, like these plugins are really cool with Moralis. And the last thing that we can do is after we do yarn build, we can actually deploy this right to Moralis. That way we don't even have to deal with like deploying. So you just need to do yarn build, which we've already done. And after you do yarn build, you need to download the Moralis admin CLI. Which you can do simple enough. Right in here, these are the docs. It's in the chat, and then we'll jump into questions. And then what we can do is we'll do Moralis admin CLI deploy -p./build. And what this will do is it'll deploy right to Moralis. And so we'll give it, we need to just grab our API key from Moralis admin. API key will copy, paste it there. Secret, copy, paste it here. Hackathon instance. And this is one of my favorite parts. So it's like you literally never have to leave Moralis, and it's just everything for your front end. And then we can click it, and we already have, like, you can send this links to your friends. Everybody in the chat, you can jump on that right now. We just made this, and you can mint your, you can connect and log in, sign up. You can mint your cats. Oh, I probably should go to Rinkeby and not mainnet. But you can mint your cats. I need. Oh, right, because I uploaded the broken one. Sorry, I didn't do yarn build on the one that we fixed. But yeah, you can go right to Moralis and mint your cats and do everything we just did. So sorry, I know this was a little bit all over the place. Hopefully you all learned something. Hopefully you got something out of this. That deploy, and send thing is probably my favorite feature. And it's what kind of this project is using. It's using Moralis. The whole thing is Moralis based, which is really cool. Any other? I didn't get to go into the database stuff. The fact that you have a database here is incredibly powerful. You can cache stuff. You can keep track of users. You can do cloud functions. Like it's literally like a Google Cloud or an Amazon AWS, a Firebase for Web3 applications. And it's fantastic, right? Just if you use, you can use Hard Hat and Moralis and and launch $1 billion project. Like those are the two pieces that you need: Moralis and like Hard Hat Brownie, and then obviously Chainlink and stuff. But like for the front end pieces, like those are all the pieces that you need. So with that, we have a couple minutes left. Down to take some questions. Luckily, even though I stumbled around a little bit, all the code is available. It is. I posted it in the chat here. You can go and fork it, start it, do whatever you want with it. I'm going to close that Moralis server right now so that people don't do crazy things with it. So it's going to be down, even though I just posted it in the chat. I'm deleting it. But yeah, any questions? Any questions here? Hopefully this was helpful. Does Moralis SDK have any Chainlink Oracle services built in yet? No, but that would be sick, and we've talked about that actually. Like getting the price from a Chainlink a contract would be awesome. But you saw though, it's pretty easy to call contracts anyways, right? You just do Moralis.execute function, and boom, and that's all you need to do. So you could just do Moralis.getLatestPrice, and you'd be good to go. Where are you cheating from? So I have the completed code like in the bottom left of my screen, and like in case I get stuck, I'll just like look back at it and try to see where I'm getting stuck. And so for the header piece, I just copy pasted the header that I wrote before, and it was working when I copy pasted. So I'm sure I was typoing something somewhere. Can we make it in such a way that the user can upload their own cat and mint? You absolutely can. So that's not how I did it, but you absolutely could do that way. Thank you all for helping me out here, by the way, with your suggestions. I needed to environment variables. I forgot to do load config. Whoops. Can we see a no code front end video? Actually, one that I usually tell people to go to is Quick Dapp, One Click Dapp. It's called like One Click Dapp, or it's really good. I forget what it's called. What's the cost for Moralis? So it's free. Once your servers start to reach a heavy load, that's when you'd probably want to start paying to keep the servers up, basically. So you can jump on it for free. Can an NFT image be updated post minting? Yes, depends on how you do it. We have some more in-depth NFT videos we've done earlier in the hackathon. Zach did an amazing one. There's also some amazing YouTube videos that we've done. If you look up, NFT end to end, there's one of mine that's like 2 hours. I got another one that's 3 hours. They're both very good. I've been in over 23 live streams. My span attention is decaying. How do you keep up? You're doing an amazing job being in so many live streams. I'll tell you that much. All right, cool. All right, well, we have another full stack NFT project. You all 100% should go to that stream. It's going to be with Andre, who's going to be doing another full stack NFT. His is going to be a little bit different. His is going to be using that Dungeons and Dragons project that Zach did earlier. In Hard Hat, so for those of you who like Hard Hat, and he's going to be using UseDApp again. Yeah, definitely go to that stream. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a ton of fun. Thank you all so much for coming, and we'll talk to you all soon.